Close your eyes for a moment and think about the world you live in right now. The roads, the buildings, the noise, the lights, the constant movement of everything around you. Now imagine all of it completely gone. Every car, every screen, every familiar sound erased. What would be left? What did this world actually look like before any of it existed? I am about to show you something that most people alive today have never seen. Real footage, real images, the actual Earth as it existed 130 years ago. Not a painting, not an illustration, not someone's artistic interpretation of the past. The real thing, real streets that no longer exist, real faces of people who lived and breathed in a world so different from ours that will feel like watching footage from another planet entirely. But here is what is going to surprise you. It is not as different as you think. And in some ways, that is the most unsettling part of all. Because when you see these images, really see them, you're going to feel something very strange. Something that is difficult to put into words. The feeling of recognizing a world you have never actually lived in. Stay until the very end of this video because what I've saved for the final minutes is the rarest footage of all. Images so old and so forgotten that most historians did not even know they existed until very recently. By the time this video is over, the world outside your window will never look quite the same again. Welcome back. If you are new here, this channel is your time machine. Every single week we take you back to the rarest and most extraordinary moments in visual history. Footage and images that have been buried in archives for over a century, restored, colorized, and brought back to life so you can see the past exactly the way it actually looked. If that sounds like something you want more of, and trust me, what we have lined up for the coming weeks is going to blow your mind. Hit that subscribe button right now and ring the notification bell so you never miss a single journey through time. It costs you nothing, and it means everything to this channel. Before we dive in, I want to ask you something. When you picture the world 130 years ago, what do you actually see in your mind? A dark and difficult place? Something beautiful? Something completely unrecognizable? Drop your answer in the comments right now. I read every single one, and I am always amazed by what people imagine when they think about the past. Also, if you enjoy this video today, a like takes you 2 seconds, but it helps this channel reach thousands more people who love history just as much as you do. So if something in this video surprises you, and I promise something will, smash that like button for me. All right, the year is 1894. The place is planet Earth. And nobody alive at this moment has any idea what the next 130 years are about to bring. Let us go. The first thing you need to understand about the world of 130 years ago is the silence. Not the comfortable silence you might find in a quiet room or a peaceful park. A different kind of silence entirely. A silence so deep and so complete that if you were somehow transported back to a city street in 1890, for the first thing you would notice is not what you see, but what you do not hear. No engines, no horns, no electrical hum, no distant music from someone's phone, no aircraft overhead. The loudest sounds on a busy city street in 1890 were the clop of horse hooves on cobblestones, the creak of wooden carriage wheels, the shouts of vendors, and the general murmur of thousands of human voices going about their day. That was the soundtrack of the world, and it was nothing like what you are used to when you watch the footage from this era, and you are about to see some of the rarest examples ever recorded. The first instinct is to focus on what the people are wearing, how they are moving, what the buildings look like. But try instead to imagine the sound, because the silence of these images is not just a technical limitation of early film. It is a window into a completely different sensory experience of being alive. The cities of 1894 were enormous. London had over 6 million people. New York was growing at a speed that shocked even the people living through it. Paris was in the middle of a golden age of art, architecture, and ideas that would later be called La Belle Époque. The beautiful era. And yet, despite the size of these cities, despite the millions of people crowding their streets every single day, the world felt slower. Not because people moved more slowly, they did not, but because the pace of information was different. If something happened on the other side of the world, you might not hear about it for days or even weeks. The world was enormous in a way it simply is not anymore. And into this world, For the very first time, someone pointed a camera and pressed record. The footage that survives from the 1890s is extraordinarily rare. Most of it was never meant to be preserved. The people who filmed it thought of it as a novelty, a curiosity, a technical demonstration. They had absolutely no idea they were creating a historical record that people 130 years later would study, with the same intensity that archaeologists study ancient ruins. They were just filming the street outside. They were just capturing a moment. And that is exactly what makes it so extraordinary. What you see in this footage is not history as it was packaged and presented for posterity. It is history caught off guard. A woman crossing a muddy street in 1896, lifting her long skirts above the puddles, completely unaware she is being filmed. A group of men standing outside a shop in 1897, arguing about something we will never know. Children chasing each other through a marketplace in 1895, laughing at something that happened 130 years before you were born. These are not historical figures. These are just people, and that is the most powerful thing about this footage. Now here is the detail that most people never think about when they watch these images. Every single person you see in this footage lived through something we can barely imagine. They had no antibiotics, no modern surgery, no heating beyond a fireplace, no refrigeration, no way to communicate instantly with someone on the other side of the city, let alone the other side of the world. And yet they went to work every morning. They raised their children. They fell in love. They argued with their neighbors. They worried about money. They laughed at things that made them happy. They were, in every way that matters, exactly like you. And watching them move across a screen 130 years later, you can feel that. You can feel the connection across time. And it is unlike anything else history can give you. But the images I am about to show you in the next chapter are different from anything you have seen before, because these are not the famous clips. These are not the ones you find easily on the internet. These are the ones that were lost, hidden in private collections and government archives for over a century, found by accident, restored by hand, and presented here for the first time to a modern audience. And what they show will change the way you think about the world you are living in right now. In the summer of 1895, a French engineer named Alexander Promeo was traveling through Europe with a Lumiere cinematograph, one of the very first portable film cameras ever built. His job was simple: go to the most interesting places in the world and film them, bring the footage back to Paris. Show people what the world looked like beyond their own city, their own street, their own experience. What Promeo filmed over the next 2 years is among the most important visual documentation of the late 19th century ever created. He filmed the canals of Venice from a moving boat, one of the very first tracking shots in the history of cinema. He filmed the streets of London, the markets of Cairo, the waterfronts of Yokohama in Japan. He pointed his camera at the world, and the world looked back, completely unaware it was being preserved for eternity. But here is what most people do not know. Promeo filmed dozens of locations that were never cataloged, rolls of film that were stored, forgotten, and in many cases only rediscovered in the last 20 years. Film historians working through the Lumiere archives in Lyon, France, have been finding previously unknown footage on a regular basis. Short clips of places and moments that nobody alive today had ever seen before their restoration. A marketplace in Algeria in 1896. A religious procession in Mexico in 1897. A busy street in Shanghai in 1898 that shows a city in the middle of the most dramatic transformation in its history. Each of these clips lasts only seconds, but each one is a doorway, a real, physical doorway into a world that no longer exists in any other form. The buildings in that Shanghai street footage were demolished decades ago. The people walking through that Algerian marketplace are gone, their names unknown, their lives unrecorded in any history book. The only evidence that they ever existed, that they ever walked through a Tuesday afternoon in 1896 carrying baskets and talking to their neighbors, is those few seconds of flickering black and white film. Think about what that means. For most of human history, the only way the past survived was through writing, through art, through architecture. Words on a page, paint on a canvas, stones arranged into buildings. These were the tools of memory, and they were extraordinary tools. But they all share one fundamental limitation. They are interpretations. Someone decided what to write down, what to paint, what to build. Someone made a choice about what was worth remembering and what was not. Film changed that forever. For the first time in human history, the past could survive without anyone deciding it was worth saving. The camera did not care whether the woman crossing that muddy street in 1896 was famous or ordinary, rich or poor, important or forgotten. It captured her anyway. It preserved her anyway. And 130 years later, she is still there, still crossing that street, still lifting her skirts above the puddles, still completely unaware that someone on the other side of time is watching her and feeling, in the strangest and most profound way, that they know her. And this is what I want you to carry with you when you leave this video today. We are living through the most documented era in human history. Every moment of your life exists somewhere, in photographs, in videos, in messages, in data. Future generations will be able to see your world with a clarity and detail that would have been unimaginable to the people in this footage. They will watch the streets of your city the way you just watched the streets of 1895. They will look at ordinary moments of your ordinary life and feel that same strange connection across time. The question is not whether you will be remembered. You will be. The question is what the world you are leaving behind will look like to someone watching it 130 years from now. Will they see a world that made sense? Will they see a world that was moving in the right direction? Will they look at the footage of your streets and your cities and your daily life and feel that same recognition, that feeling of seeing something familiar in something completely foreign? The people in this footage had no idea what was coming. No idea that within 20 years their world would be torn apart by the first global war in human history. No idea that the slow, silent, horse-drawn world they were living in was about to be replaced almost overnight by something faster, louder, and more dangerous than anything they could have imagined. They were just living their lives, just crossing their streets, just being alive on an ordinary afternoon in 1895. And they were beautiful, every single one of them. In their heavy coats and their muddy boots and their serious Victorian expressions and their complete, total, magnificent unawareness of us watching them. They were just people living on this earth, the same earth you're living on right now, 130 years later, still turning, still carrying everyone forward into a future nobody can see. If this video gave you that feeling, that strange, quiet, powerful feeling of connection across time, then this channel exists exactly for you. Every week we go deeper into the archives, further back into the past, and bring you footage and images that most people will never find on their own. Subscribe right now so you never miss a single journey. Hit the like button if this video made you think about something differently today. And drop a comment below. I want to know, after watching this footage, what moment in your own life do you think people 130 years from now would find most fascinating? Tell me below. See you in the next one. The past is waiting.